Hello and welcome. This is Amaka with Accounting on Excel. In this training, I'll be showing you how to design inventory quantity tracking Excel templates. As you can see on the screen, this is what we'll be designing in this training. First of all, what is inventory? Inventory are goods purchased in order to resell for the purpose of profit making. And it's a key area for any business that buys and sells physical products. So if you're into buying and selling of physical products, then it's important you keep track of your inventory in order not to experience any form of loss. Right. So in designing this template, here are the following Excel features and functions I'll be using. VLOOKUP function, SUMIF functions, the if any function to correct likely error as a result of using VLOOKUP, data validation feature, named range, formatting options. Right. So to get the completed version of this template, I'll be dropping an instruction at the end of this training. So I'll encourage you to watch through to the end in order to follow the instruction to get the completed version of this template. Right. So before we continue, do well to like this video and subscribe to this channel in order to get updates whenever I upload new videos. So let's go in and look at how to design this template. So this is what we're going to be designing in today's training. Here we have the section where you list all the inventory in your business. The inventory, you can give it a product code, the description of the inventory, the unit of measurement. Do we measure it based on per item or pair or unit or bag or dozen? It depends on how you measure that particular inventory. You just put that unit of measurement in here. Then you put in your opening stock. Before starting to use this template, what's the opening stock? You impute those opening stock for each of the inventory in your business right here. On this section is where you record the in and out of inventory in your business. In and out such as purchases, sales. This is where you impute it. After which you come to this section where we have the inventory quantity balance. At each point you want to know what is the balance of each inventory item in your business. So this is where you get the quantity balance for each of the inventory item you've listed here. This is where you get the balance, and this is what I'll be showing you how to design. So follow me closely. I'll be opening a new Excel workbook to design exactly what we have in here. So I'll just open a new workbook. Here we have it, and I'll just copy some details. Maybe we just copy from this point down to this point, and that's it. So we start from row 4, and there we go. We just use the paste value option. Good. So this is it, and here we go. Then we have our heading. Go back to this point and just copy and paste here. Paste as value. Good. So we can just like merge and center. It's good. So we can go back, copy this, and paste it here, paste it as value. Good. Remember, we merge and center. It's good. We go back, copy this, select the cell F, you paste as values. Good. Then you use the merge and center option. Good. Go back, we copy the cell and we'll paste it here. Remember, use the paste as values. Good. and apply the merge and center. Right. Think yeah, we're good to go. So this is what we have. So the first thing is just to, let's make this bold, increase it to, let's see, 20 should be okay. Then we give it this formatting and make it white. Good. The same thing here, you give it bold, and I think 14 is okay. Give it a fill and white. The same thing, make it bold to 14. Give it a fill and a font of white. Remember to bold it. The same thing here, increase it to 14. Make it bold, right, and here we go. Good. So the next thing is this section where we have the column headings. The column headings, let's just increase this. So we're trying to like make it look. Now you wrap the text. You can just come here and you see the wrap function, the wrap feature here. So if I click this, I wrap it, and I can reduce it if I want, so that you can see just wrap. Good. So wrap that. So wrapping it is like making the column heading to be in 2 lines, right? So this is okay. Then you can put this in a bold, all borders. Put this on all border, right? This is okay. This is okay. Make this center. Make this center. Make this bold. Make this bold. Remember, we have a different color for it. I think this color, it's okay. A fit color, yeah, that's okay. So we move here. We go the same thing we'll be doing here. The same thing we'll be doing here. Remember, this is a date formatting. So we give it a short dates. Short dates. Good. So we're good to go. Remember to give this a bold formatting. Yes, then like wrap it. We'll wrap this also, you see, wrap this. You can leave this one this way. This one needs to be wrapped. Wrap it, put the wrap feature to it, and there we go. Remember to make this center. Make it center, and this has a fill color of this color, and remember to make it all borders. Good. So we're good to go. The same thing here. The same thing here. We have make it bold and fill. Remember to wrap this. Good. And this we have all borders. Remember, all borders. Good. Can make this. We can wrap this. We can also increase this. Increase this to make it more visible. So this should be centered. This should be centered, and here we go. Centered. Good. So I believe we've set the ball rolling. We have set the ball rolling. So for this section, I may just leave the dates because I need the dates. So the other area will just the quantity. Okay. Let me just delete this area. Good. If we need it, we can just get it over there. But because we'll be imputing formula in some of these sections, so it's not necessary, so we can delete. So this is where we need our input. This is where you list all your inventory. So if you're going to be using this template, the first thing to do is to list your inventory here and the opening stock before you started using this. So what is the number of quantity of inventory you have at hand before using these templates? That's what we call opening stock, right? So you input it here. So these are the inputs you need, right? So everything here I'll be inputting formulas here in some of these columns. Most of them here will have a formula. Let me increase this so that it can be visible. Good. So here to this point will have a formula. But before we go ahead, we'll be naming some ranges. We'll be naming some ranges. That the first range we'll be naming is this. To give this a name, you just select it. You go to your formula tab, right? You see the define name. Select the define name. So the name we'll be giving it is product, but you just like PROD, then underscore code. Remember, when you're giving a name, you don't put a space. That's why I have to put that underscore. Good. So we have this name. So also give the entire range here a name. You can just select and give it, let me see, inventory details. I think this should be okay. Good. So we've given that a name. So the next thing here is to impute. We want a drop down list here, and the drop down list should give us a transaction type of either purchase or sales. Purchase or sales. Let me make all the center, the heading center, make it center alignment. Center alignment. Good. Now, in this column, I want a drop down list. So what I'll do is I'll select the first cell. You go to your data tab. Then you come to this point under the data tools. You select the data validation. Remember, use the list type and you just put your purchase, comma, sales, and there you go. Good. So we have purchase and sales. So just fill this down to replicate it all through. So when you select this, you see it's all here. Good. So we're done with that. So you can just select maybe purchase. Good. So the next is the product code. It's a product code. For this product code, we'll also be using data validation. So you just select this cell, go to your data tab, under the data tool, data validation, list, then we'll be using this as our data validation. Remember, we named this product PROD underscore code. So you can just use the F3 to bring about this. So this is what I want to use and say as a source code for this data validation. So it puts OK. Immediately all the inventory code are listed here. All right. So you can drag down in order to apply the same data validation to all the cells in this column. So if you click here, you have it here. You click here, you have it here. Right. So just select any of the code and there we go. So product description. We want the product descriptions to work in a way where for every code we select here, immediately the description for that product pops up, and that is where we'll have the VLOOKUP. So we'll go in and put the VLOOKUP. What are we looking up for? We're looking up for this product code. We are looking up for it, this table. Remember, we gave this table a name. Remember, so when I press F3, remember this table, inventory details. This is the name for this table. Remember, I see immediately the table, the area is being selected. Good. So what is the column index? I want it to return this one, the product description, which is the second column, 2, and return the exact. Right. So you just close it and enter. Now you can see product code 104. So if you select another, immediately you see. So this is what we want. So the next thing is this. What if there is no code here? If I delete this, you see we are having an NA error. And that is why we'll now impute. Let me come to the formula bar. We'll impute an if NA function that will help us correct that in case we have an empty cell. in the code column. So here we go. Good. So where the code column is empty, we have an empty cell. That's why we have to wrap the VLOOKUP, the if NA function around the VLOOKUP. Right. So that's it. So you all just have to fill downwards. Fill downwards. So if you select the code now, good, this is it. So the same thing will be happening here. We'll use a VLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, VLOOKUP. What are we looking up for? We're looking up for this product. We are looking up for it. Remember our inventory details. This is the name. And what column do we want to return? The unit of measurement. That's the third column. And we want the exact match. Good. Good. So also wrap this. We'll wrap an if any function around it to correct any error that may arise and return empty. Good. So this is it. So just fill it downwards to this point. Good. There we go. So the quantity, there is no formula. You just input your quantity. If it's a purchase, how many quantity are you buying, right? If it's a sales, how many quantity are you selling? You input that quantity. Now, for the formula we'll be imputing in this column, it will help us to know the quantity for that product before that sales or purchase or after the sales or purchase. Did you get that? So this column will help you with hint of the balance of the products you're about to purchase or sell. Immediately you select the transaction type and the product code. What we want to see here is the balance before. Immediately you input the quantity you either want to purchase or sell, it gives you the balance after. Right, so let's input the formula and you'll see how it works. But before then, I would like us to do something. And what I would like us to do is this. First of all, I want us to give a named range to every of this column. That's 1, 2, 3, then 4. So I'm selecting this column. Just we'll be using naming multiple ranges. To name multiple ranges, you select the range. I want to give this a name range. So I've selected, I want to name this 1, 2, 3, 4, this 4 column. So you select it and you go to your formula. Under this define names, you click on create from selection. And I want the top row only checked and okay, good. So you will notice that the names are already here. You can see products, transaction dates, you can see it, transaction type, product code, then the quantity we selected. Remember we selected this, so that's it. So why I have to do this is for easy imputing of formulas. When you give your column the names, when writing formula, it's easier, it's more descriptive, and it's quite easier to input formulas using name range and just selecting range of cells, trying to make it relative, trying to make it absolute. Right, so let's go ahead. So the first thing for this column, as I said, we'll be using the VLOOKUP, we'll be using the SUMIF function. So equals to VLOOKUP. What are we looking up for? We're looking up for this code, and we are looking up for it on the inventory details table. That's this particular. And what do we want it to bring back? The fourth column and get me the exact column. Good. Then what? Sum it, use the sum if to sum the quantity column. Remember, we have the quantity column. And what's the first criteria I want to test? The first criteria I want to test is the product code, right? So the range is product code. Remember the product code created, good. And this is the products, good. And what's the next criteria I want to test? The date, right? The date. So we have the transaction date, and I want a date that is less than or equal to, put the ampersand, this date in F. Good. So that's my criteria. And what's the next criteria we want to test? The transaction type. Transaction type, and the transaction type should be purchase. Purchase. Right. And you close the bracket. So you also minus some ifs quantity. Then the first criteria range we're testing is a product code. Product code. This is a product code. I think I need to change this here. This particular name range is what I'm using. Good. So, and H5, where is the product code? H5 here. H5. So I'll just put H5. Good. And what's the next criteria I want to test? The next criteria is a transaction date. Transaction date. And I'm using this date, F5. Well, our formula is getting longer. And what's the next criteria range I want to test? Remember the transaction type. And in this transaction type, we'll be using sales. Sales, I'll close the bracket and enter. Good. So you see that before, it's telling us that before we even input the quantity we want to sell, this particular product is having 7. So we've not done anything, we've not made any purchase, we've not done anything. This is just like the opening balance. And that's why. So 102, remember 102 is 7. So if I select another product, 105. What's 105? So because we've not made any purchase, any sales, just giving us the opening balance. So this is the balance before imputing the quantity you want to even sell. Right. Let's say I want to sell 4. Watch what happens. You see, immediately it shows you the balance after the sales. Did you get that? It shows you the balance after the sales. So what we'll do now is, if there is no product here, you see, it gives us the any error. And this is what we don't want. So all you need to do is just to wrap the if and if function around it. So just the if and a. I'll open this, then just return empty and close. That's it. Good. So our formula is good. So you just copy it downwards. Good. We're good to go. So if I select a code now, good. So product 103, we just have 1. The 1. Okay, we made sales. Product 103, product, we have 5. So immediately we made this sales for, this is the quantity after the sales. So before the sales, if you delete it, we have 5. So the sales, after the sales, let's say we made 3 sales, you can see we have 2. Right. So this is how this section works. Right. So we'll be going to this point in order to also automate it to get the balance of the quantity per time. So we'll be imputing our data validation here, just as we have the list data validation. You just select the first cell, go to your data tab. Under this, remember data validations, lists, and we have, I'll be using product code. Just press F3 and all the named range comes up. This is what we'll be using. Good, and say okay. So all your product code is listed here. You just copy so that it will all be there. So this is it. You can select this. So here we'll be using the VLOOKUP just as we have here. So you just input the formula VLOOKUP. What are we looking up for? We're looking up for this. We are looking for, remember, our inventory details table. We want the second column and we want the exact. then close it. Good. So remember, we'll have to wrap an if any function around it to make it more dynamic in case the cell is empty, and close the bracket, and there we go. So you fill the formula downwards, fill it downwards. Good. The same thing we'll be using here, VLOOKUP. What are we looking up for? We're looking up for this product code and the inventory list. This is it. We want to return the third column, the exact. Good. There we go. So you can select this and wrap the if and if function around it to make it dynamic. And close the bracket. Good. So the same thing, you fill downwards. Here we go. So in this balance, we'll be using the VLOOKUP and the sum if function also here. So you see equals to VLOOKUP. Let me just input the formula in the formula bar. Let's come here. Equals to VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP, what are we looking up for? We're looking up for this particular product. We are looking up for it on the inventory list table. Right, and we want to return the fourth column where we have the opening balance, the exact. Then we'll add sum if, using the sum if function, every purchase is made. So the first, for the column we want to add is a quantity column, and the first criteria is a product code, and the criteria first is N5. The second criteria range is the transaction type, and it should be purchases. Purchases. I think we have purchase, right? I think it's purchase, not purchases. That's all for this. Then you now minus this, all the sales, quantity. The first criteria range is a product code. The product code, that's the first criteria range. The first criteria range is a product code. And what is the criteria? Remember, N5. The second one is a transaction type. And what is our criteria here is sales. We put it in double quotation because it's a text, remember. So enter. Good. So you see we have for product 1027 is the current quantity because we've not done anything. 102 is just giving us the opening balance as our current balance. If there are movements, it will give us the current, add all the purchases, reduce all the sales, and gives us the current balance, just as the formula we have in here saying. So make it dynamic by wrapping, because when we delete this, you see we're having an NA error. So we'll make this formula dynamic by wrapping an if NA function around it. If NA, meaning that if we're having such, just return an empty cell. Good. There we go. So let's select any cell here, and we can now fill this formula downwards. Good. And here we go. So I'll just input some data transaction. Let me pause this video and input some data transaction, and then we continue. Good. Okay, you can see I've filled this section with a lot of transaction in here. Let's delete this. Okay, so we have a good number of transaction in here, and immediately it updates, just as I said. Let me do away with this transaction here so that you will understand better. So we have this, as you can see, you can get the balances at a glance. So product one as of today, this is what you're having, right? So here in the movement, you can see for the sales of this product, as I said, before the sale, before you input the quantity, you see then immediately after you input the quantity, it gives you this. For this product, you see the balance we have here is 3. So if I come here and I select purchase, right, and immediately I put in the product code, it will give me the balance before the purchase. You see we have 3 because that's the last balance here. So it brings up the balance before I even input the quantity I purchased, right? So you have the balance before. Immediately you input, let's say we purchased like 8, quantity 8, immediately you see it updates to 11. So that's how this column helps you. If you want to make a sales now, let's say we want to make sales transaction for this same product 103. Now you see it's giving you that 11 is the balance that you have in stock, so that you will know the quantity you want to sell. Maybe you're having a client that is demanding for 15. It will just make you understand that you can't sell beyond 11, right? So immediately you input the number you want to sell. Let's say you want to sell 5. It gives you the quantity after that sales, which is 6, right? This is how it works. So for here, you get the balance as at the date. So instead of you trying to look for the quantity to get the balance, you can just come here and say, okay, for products, this is the balance. So each product, this is the balance. It's like the balance for each product at a shot. What this helps you when you're making sales, when you're making purchases, when there is a movement, to know the balance before each transaction and after each transaction, right? So this is how you go about designing your inventory quantity tracking template. So you want to make it look good, you just go to the view tab and uncheck these grid lines, and there you go. You see it looking so much beautiful and more professional, right? So that is how you go about designing this template. Just as I promised you, if you want to get the completed version of this template, all you need to do first is to give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, then comment in the comment section with your email. I'll send this right into your inbox, right? I'll see you in the next training. Bye for now.